Hi, everybody. I hope I am live here. So let's see. Comments. Hi, everybody. Hopefully, I'm live. I hope so. So, yeah. Hi, everybody. To Whiskey Pilgrim and to my very, very interesting first live on this chapter, No Man's Land. So, yeah. So I just want to tell everyone who's in here. I hope people are in here. Let's have a look. But the No Man's Land is basically gonna be about. Oh, there's an echo. No problems. So the No Man's Land is just gonna be a no-themed V-pub live thing I'm gonna do. Hopefully it will. Oh, there's Emil as well. Shana. And yeah, it's just gonna be people can join here, and we will just talk about whatever whoever you want to talk about. Is it the bottle of whiskey? Is it how your day have been, music, videos, anything, games and all that. Well, we're gonna do that. So I will have it one per month. Just this month there will be two because this week I have vacation still. So yeah, let's do that. So there will be a second one this month in the 25th of August, I would say, as well. So that's mostly because I close school that day, or the school that I work with, I close that day. So on the Wednesday, so I can be up a little bit late on the Wednesday. So yeah, that's why. And also just to clarify, always free to join. I will always put a link up. Oh, hey Sassy, hey Sandra. I will also always put a link up, so you can always join the chat if you want to, or just type in the comment section or be part of the live. It's for everyone basically. But I just want to point out, so we're still gonna keep it nice, as good as we can. So today's live stream, I have two guests already. I'm really thankful for this, and I have some people already joining the chat. I can see, really nice. And I also want to point out, I will talk a little bit today on what's going to come this year on my channel. A little bit, some of the new chapters that I do, and just talk a little bit more about them. But I will actually right now send in my guests. So I have two guests here. One a fellow whiskey YouTuber and one a fellow, he does some YouTubing as well. And he's also on Instagram, and he's been a very kind supporter of me. I'm really thankful. So let's see here. I think I can get them both on now. Let's see here. There we go. Hey guys, welcome. Welcome. Welcome, Greg from Whiskey Guide and Meter Median, Dominic. Very nice to have you guys here. So yeah, this is how we're gonna do it. I will hope you guys having a good thing. Do you have anything in your glasses you want to show, or if you're drinking?
Yep, I have this, which I uncorked yesterday.
Oh,
it's a High Coast Swedish distillery. It's the Hav of the core range.
Nice.
From the core range. It's subtitled Oak Spice. It is non-chill filtered, non-colored, and 48% ABV.
Yeah.
It was a nice price, around 39 euros only. So I thought it was
that's
fair
good.
price.
I think that's even cheaper than in Sweden, actually. So I think it's cheaper than in Sweden, actually. It's actually, I can just point out hav means ocean in Sweden. So just to point out some language lessons here. And Dominic, what do you have in your glass?
I've got a blend within a blend.
Oh, nice. So tell us.
I have got minis here. So I have the Johnny Walker 18. Okay. And I mixed it with the...
Is it the blue label?
The Johnny Walker Blue Label.
Ooh.
So I had not too much of the Blue Label left, and it's not as good as the 18, so I decided to mix them together. And it's quite nice, actually, because the blue is definitely better than the 18-year-old, so it kind of takes some of that green element that's a bit...
That's different. It's a different product.
And it kind of helps to kind of mellow it out, and it's quite nice, actually. The Blue Labels... Sorry.
Which version
the Blue Labels,
was it from the Blue Label? Is it 43 or 40% ABV?
I think it's... Yeah, it's 40%.
Okay.
I don't think the Blue Label's bottled at 43. I know they did a cask strength version for duty free.
It is sorry to interrupt you. It is for the U.S. market,
Okay.
and my bottle is at 43% ABV and 75 CL. It was a gift, and I did a big topic on my website where I tried around 20 or more different batches and versions of Johnny Walker, and I had tried actually the one you're talking about, the cask strength blue label, which is something really different.
Is that
And
a ghost or rare or anything?
no,
Yeah.
it's before that. But the problem is the first version, which was a lot in travel retail, was around 150 or 2,200 euros, maybe 5 years ago.
Okay.
Somebody offered me the end of its bottle, so I reviewed it. I still have a few, but the same juice is now in white ceramic decanter, and it's 400 and more euros. So
Okay. I have never tried any Johnny Walker, if I should be honest. I have never tried any. So
You
yeah, it's how it is. The only like blendeds I have tried, blended scotches has always been not red, I would say, Lauders, Ballantines, Famous
you need
Grouse,
to try others.
and Grants as well. I have never tried anything else, and that was way back. So I never really tried any, actually, if I should be honest. But I'm looking into buying maybe some samples of Johnny, just Johnny Walker.
We're gonna
Just
fix
try.
that, my friend. We're gonna fix that.
Sounds interesting. Sounds very interesting.
Around
So
30
I'm just going to tell you what I'm drinking. I'm drinking this one, Bergslagen, 2 Hearts. This is an 8-year-old bourbon and sherry cask whiskey. It's really nice. So yeah.
Yeah,
Dominic.
I've actually got one here. I bought this quite a few years ago. It's the
Is that the Devil Cask?
It's the Inspired Devil's Cask. It's the one that they did after the 3rd edition. It's the 46%, and it's, for funny enough, duty free. So it's a litre bottle, and I opened it up maybe about 2 weeks ago, and I was having it with a cigar at the time, and I couldn't tell at first, but when I had it, it sounded okay because I was smoking a cigar and I couldn't really taste much of the flavour, but I could feel it was kind of quite strong. And then I think it was the cigar, but every time I've had it since, I've not really enjoyed it. And I think it's because they say it uses the finest Oloroso sherry and wine casks, but I think the wine is too prominent in the whiskey and it's made it really a shame.
Yeah,
it doesn't live up to the bowl.
Yeah, I can understand. I just want to say hi to Malty, Menno, and Whiskey Novice as well. Jim, I just want to say hi to them. Yeah, I tried Devil Cask Part 3, I think it is, that came out, the last one they did at the distillery, 2016. It was actually, it tasted too sour, with the red wine. What it was really not my cup of tea, so to say. Even the person who actually poured it to me at the Bowmore distillery even complained about it. So maybe it wasn't the greatest advertising, but they actually asked me what I thought, and I said I didn't like it personally. But even all the people that were in our group, I actually gave them so they could try it. The faces were basically like, what is this?
Well, there's a lot of hit or miss in Bowmore. I'm going to do a rundown soon because I got quite some, I cannot say a lot, but 13, 14, it's quite some choice already.
Yeah.
But, I try much more than that, maybe 70, 60. I don't remember now.
Okay. Yeah.
But I have tried some fantastic ones.
Yeah, me too.
So yeah, I might send you something as well. But
nice.
The problem is with all these big brands, even if it's not the biggest, is what's the difference of what they put in the core range compared to some limited edition, not all. And travel retail is not always the best, but sometimes luxury exclusives are the best ones, sometimes not. So it's very, you never know.
Yeah, the travel retail market has been really bad lately. Not bad, but depending what you're looking for. But the prices have just gone up, and I don't know, especially when you're in an airport these days. I know when I was in Copenhagen airport, most of the things that were quite expensive, and they were unfortunately not what I was looking for anyway. But I was just thinking if someone wanted to be introduced to whiskeys, there were still the standard core things that you could find. But most of the things were like heavily emphasized with great packaging. It looks really cool, but maybe the content, wasn't that. I don't know. I haven't tried it, so I can't really say anything more. But it looked like you were buying a $500 statue, or $5,000 or something like that, and you can have it like this, but it doesn't do anything. So, but anyway,
I think duty free. The whole point of it is about making it look as glamorous as possible.
Yeah.
But Bowmore did a 17-year-old White Sands, and it was a travel retail exclusive, and it was actually really good. I have to say that. So
my coworker is actually in here, Emil. I don't know if he's still in here. He actually sent me a picture. I think he just got it, the White Sand at his place. So I will try it very soon. I hope. He said it was really good, so I trust him. I have converted him to Springbank, so I've done a good job.
Well, my best ball is out of reach now, otherwise.
Yeah, I can just do this and I can pick a ball, but yeah. So, but I will talk a little bit right now is what's going to happen on the channel. So for the people who are interested to know, I have like new chapters coming up. I already started with one, the Hand of Doom, where I pick a bottle. I know you, Greg, you told me that I shouldn't be smashing my hand because it sounded. I tried one of your drams as well, Dominic, the Mortlake 16. Yeah, I'm sorry, but like I said, it wasn't my cup of tea. But there's some other stuff you have been sending me that I'm really looking forward. I have not had that big experience with Mortlake before, so it's how it is. It's really fun.
We're all different, and we all like different things.
Yeah,
that's a good thing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I'm still so thankful for what you sent me. Dominic sent me a really nice package of samples for my 100 subscriber I had. So I'm really thankful for that. But the Hand of Doom, I just want to tell you, it's a little bit, basically, I was really heading into like the gray area, where you call it, but where I had no idea what I want to buy anymore, because I always buy Springbank, I buy Deanston, I buy always the same things. So I started to feel like I needed to change myself a little bit, because else I'm just going to get too predictable. There's nothing wrong with that, but I wanted to evolve a little bit, I think. So that's why I did the whole Hand of Doom, so I could just try different things, because I have been sent samples and all that. So I'm very thankful for that, and try. I think I have recorded right now 15 reviews already on it. So yeah. So, and also to the people, 15, 1-5. Yeah.
Can I say something about it? I like the fact you associated a whiskey with even at random, it doesn't matter, with a musical record, so you can give some kind of mood. This is what I'm liking at the moment.
Like this today's album.
We don't see it well.
No. This is no. It's like this, It's like a TV shop or any of those commercial stuff. Today's album.
What is it? We don't.
This is Myrkur. Myrkur is Icelandic for darkness, basically. But that was just the thing that Oh, Alan is also here. Hi, Alan.
Hi, everyone.
So the whole Hand of Doom is basically me trying new stuff, challenging myself. Because wherever I go, I will try if I can find small sample bottles to buy, to put it in there. If there is something I have never tried before, you just put it in there to try it. Because I think it could be, a challenging thing for myself. Because some of them, there doesn't say anything if it's chill filtered, natural color, maybe not even what kind of cask has been used. There's even one review when I think it is a malt, but it's actually a rye. Just a spoiler. Since I didn't know that, so that's how it is. So it's just a little bit thing, just challenging myself a little bit, just do something new. So I will do this all this year and probably all the way next year as well. So because I think for me personally, show a different side of myself, because I always review what I like. Maybe some people think that's boring, but I don't always see the point of reviewing something you don't like if you don't want to spread the word that this is not something you should buy. But that's up to everyone how they want to do with their channels, I think. So, and then we're going to go to the other one chapter I'm going to do in September, actually. There are going to be 4 videos of course, Springbank or Campbelltown month I'm going to do. So, yeah. Yeah, you showed me. That bottle is fantastic. I don't have any Springbank right here, but I have them all back there. So, I think I have 21 different kinds of Springbanks, just Springbank alone, 21 different kinds. Not to brag or anything, but it's getting out of hand, so to say. But that's how it is. So I will do a Campbelltown Whiskey Month. So 4 reviews, basically. Yeah.
It will be a torture, right?
Yeah, it will be. I will not like it at all. So the last review on that month is September. The last one, I think, could be quite interesting for people to watch. Because it will be Campbelltown, but it won't be Campbelltown still. It will be, something different. But I think it's basically a comparison, but still not, I don't want to give too much. I just want to give a little hint of it. But I think it could be an interesting thing, basically, to do. Because it's something that's beloved, and there is something that is really not liked in the community as well. So just using that, I think, could be interesting, just to give a different mystic. I don't want to give away too much. And then I also will be, doing the whole whiskey heresy that I know some people have been, like you, Greg, have been talking about. Yeah. So that is basically metal and whiskey. Metal and whiskey, nothing too complicated. So my idea about it, I'm still working on it, is I will have like it in 5 parts, I think. 5 parts that I will spread out during this year when it gets done, basically. And it will just be very easy, nothing too extravagant, but it would just be something liquor. It doesn't have to be whiskey. If you have beer or tequila or vodka or just wine or just water. Seriously, it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter, It can be the finest table water ever, It's okay. It's okay. So it'd just be me having some questions that I will give the person in hands, and then we will talk about them. So my idea about this is a little bit like 3-4 parts: the past, the present, and the future, and also a little bit like about their own experiences about music. But the questions themselves, I will not tell here, because that will be when they're released. So, yeah, exactly. You have been warned.
Cool, Frederick and Dominic and everyone.
Yeah. So, cheers, everyone. That's what I want to talk about with my channel. So, if you have any questions about chapters, feel free to ask.
Nice.
Funny enough, I did actually have birch water, and even though it was really expensive for a small carton, it was really quite nice. It was like water, but it wasn't at the same time. It's kind of hard to describe what it tastes like. Okay. It's a little bit like watermelon, but without the sweetness. It was really quite nice to try it for something different. I'd highly recommend that if you can afford to try it, because it's like a couple of pounds for like a small carton. It's definitely worth trying for something just a bit different from what you kind of usually expect from a drink. But it's just out there.
Say the name again, Dominic.
It's from a tree. It's birch water. And so what they do is, in the springtime, when the tree starts to grow, all the sap rises up to the tree. And what they do is they extract the water from the sap and they make it into a drink. So it's 100% natural. And because it's very small amounts, that's why it's kind of expensive and you don't see it around a lot. But
I don't know if I've seen it already. Yeah.
It's quite upmarket, so you won't see it in like supermarkets. You have to go to like I tried it when I was in London at a kind of fancy kind of cafe kind of thing, which did like amazing types of cakes and pastries, and that was really nice. So.
Forgot to ask where you live, please, Dominic.
Yeah, I'm actually I live in Scotland. I just live outside of Glasgow.
Okay.
So I'm in the whiskey belt, but not Speyside, sadly enough. But yeah, I don't really have an accent as such, so it's kind of maybe a bit hard.
Yeah, you
to
do have an
guess.
accent. You have an accent, Dominic. You do. Believe me.
All
To
right,
me-
because they say if you're from the central Scotland, we don't have an accent. Because if you're from the borders, the Scottish borders, or you're from northeast England or London, you really have an accent. But here we don't tend. It's kind of generally quite neutral. It doesn't have any kind of heavy tone to it. But I think you pick up some words which makes it a bit more kind of Glaswegian.
But you don't have the right and the this.
But I mean, I like accents.
Yeah.
I really like accents. So
Oh
just
yes,
just keep it up.
a woman also speaking Scottish when it's very marked. It's very sexy for me.
Oh,
I don't know you.
we have a dialect here in Sweden as well. It's called Norrländska or Northern. It's the if we call states, we have different states in Sweden. You could call them states or län. So they have different dialects there. I have something called a skånska dialect, basically. So I sound in my way if I would talk it in Swedish, but we're not going to do it here. But you have the northern ones, the Norrländska, and they are like.
When I was younger, I used to watch Bergman's movies in
Bergman, okay, yeah, Bergman, yeah.
In original language, subtitled, and sometimes I was getting one or two words, but it's too old now. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't speak.
Okay. No worries. I won't speak Swedish here. You don't have to worry. You don't have to worry at all. It will be hard for some of the people here to. I have 2 people on the chat. I know they will understand me, but the rest will probably do this. So, no. So yeah, Dominic.
You do speak really good English, actually. Like considering it's
Swedish people.
Have a very kind of.
It's almost
very kind of English accent, like a British accent. You don't, because sometimes when people learn English and they learn it from the Americans, they pick up the American kind of, that American kind of, howdy, that kind of style, but you very kind of tones.
Oh, who of us? Me and Greg?
Yeah.
Me?
Well, both of you, but more Frederick.
Yeah, okay, thank you. No, actually, if I should be a little bit bragging, in Sweden we have quite high quality when it comes to English lessons. You learn it already in third grade, I think it is, third grade. So it just develops all the way up. So
you have ABBA.
ABBA, yeah, we have ABBA, Nobel. What have we more? In Flames.
No, I mean the most famous in the early days. Let's say.
Yeah.
And they you could nowhere near think if you didn't knew it they were not from Sweden when they were singing, right?
Yeah, it's very interesting, with Swedish people when it comes to people outside. They can sometimes be very interesting how they look at Sweden. Because I remember when I lived in the States, because I'm quite dark of myself, because we have, I think, kind of Babylonian blood in our family. So I'm not really, no one is blonde in my family. It's either dark brown or redhead, basically. But so when I was in America, there were people there like, you're not Swedish. Everyone is blonde with blue eyes. And you were like, seriously? You were like, seriously? No, we're not. We're quite a lot of us are quite dark. It's like you have polar bears walking the streets, and you don't travel by airplane. You travel by boats.
Frederick, as simple as that. Think of McMara Master Blender now, Angela Dorazio, with brune hair and Italian origin.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I can see Multimission says Army of Lovers and Roxette and Refused. Nice. Ooh. Yeah, those are some. Yeah, Army of Lovers. That's very interesting. They are,
I don't remember them.
They are, I think if I'm correct now, they are a little bit, what's called the LGBT movement with homosexuals and all that, They are quite famous. There are a lot of their groups, especially one of them. I think one of them, if I'm correct here, maybe Sandra knows, Sassy Brown knows, but I think that's Alexander Bard. Alexander Bard, he's quite famous.
Once. And there was another name, what's a big band or big success as well. And I like the singer, a female voice.
Is it the sounds?
Oh, it's pop to bit, not electronica. It's very commercial sounding, but nice. I forgot the name. It's
Yeah, no
very,
worries.
very
We have
famous.
all night. We have all night.
So
No
many
worries.
famous bands, even not in metal. So in Sweden,
Yeah, same. I can see in the chat as well when Jim said, I don't have an accent either. He says it's very interesting with him and I think it's called Alan, the Whisk Straight Al as well and Jim, because I had a certain view on Irish accent. I met an Irish couple in New Zealand when I lived there, and I didn't understand a thing they said. I did not understand anything they said. Basically, they even actually they finished every sentence with "You understand what I'm saying?" That was the only thing I understood. That was the only thing I understood. I was just sitting there on the dinner table with the family I was working with, and this couple talking. I was like, I have no idea what they're talking about. They asked me some questions. I was like, I don't know, because I really didn't understand what they were saying. It was so hard because their accent was so, it wasn't even
Heavy.
heavy, very heavy, and I was really baffled. The same was with when I came to New Zealand, with their dialect they had. It took a while to me to understand some of it, and in the end, I really got a grip on it. Really nice dialect. But it's very interesting, with different, English dialects. You have the Scottish, you have the, Kiwi, the Irish, and you have South African, South African English dialect as well. And the Yankee, of course, you had the Canadians. It was interesting, just how different they can be sometimes, how they're talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even within Scotland, you see if you go to Dundee and then you hear a Dundee accent next to an Aberdeen accent, it's completely different. If you ever hear a female talk in a Dundee accent, it's quite something. But it's quite amazing, like how the dialects change between not even that great a distance. Like Dundee to Aberdeen is roughly 2 hours apart, which is not that far, and the difference is quite significant. So.
Okay, yeah. I just read Multi Missions comment there about trying to give up speaking French. Yeah. No, I just like the dialects, especially when I was in Scotland, when I met you, Dominic, as well. It's really cool, when you come to another country and you have to speak another language that I'm used to it. But, it's been quite a while since I lived outside my country and worked. So I was still a little bit nervous because I've lost quite a lot of my English accent that I had. Because when I lived both in America and New Zealand, I can say like this, I spoke fluent English, basically. It was even like to the point where I was thinking in English. So when I was sitting there like, oh, what am I going to do today? I'm sitting there thinking. It was in English. And when I came home to Sweden, I had hard times actually pronouncing certain words in Swedish because I always said them in English. So it took some time actually to learn them again. So just in 1 year, in those two, I actually start losing some Swedish words. So
and fuck means yes, right?
Can I ask a question actually to the both of you? Do you ever find that you speak? You're both Swedish, aren't you? Or are you?
No, I'm Swedish.
No, I'm French.
Yeah, French.
Oh, French.
You will France.
But I'm French. When I was in the US, they told me, "Are you Canadian?" No, I'm French. But most of French don't speak like that, I have to say. Even if I'm always corrected for my mistakes, and I do some, especially before the camera, I lose many of my abilities in whiskeys and talking in English and everything, because you got to do it straight away and you don't have the time to think of it. But there's many people, they will talk in English like that.
Okay, yeah, it's with the French dialect. I had a friend of mine that I got to know in New Zealand. Her name was Raquel. She was French, and she had this really stereotypical English French way of speaking. Yeah. Hello, Frédéric. How are you doing today? Had a really like stereotypical, like really cartoonish stereotypical. She was a wonderful person. I have no contact with her today, but she was really nice. But she has such a stereotypical. You could really spot on, like, yep, you're French. with her accent.
And I like to imitate languages and people, so some might be fooled if for instance, we have Jim yet again. He likes to say that. So
Yeah, I mean, I know when people hear Swedish in the movies, sometimes, like in American movies, we always sound like German for some reason. Like Guten Tag, yeah, we're Swedish, yeah. And you're like, and they're even dressed like Germans, like with the Oktoberfest, sometimes the girls. And you're like, that's German, that's not Swedish. So, when you learn pronouncing words, because, you have to really like do them all over, how you pronounce them, Because if I would speak Swedish English here, it would be basically like, hi, my name is Fredrik. Today I will talk about whiskey. It's very nice to drink, and I have no idea if you will understand what I'm speaking about. So it sounds like that basically. If I would speak in the Swedish language, maybe I made it a little bit more up, but it still would sound like
I
that.
can speak the Menno's language, and the South.
He's Belgian, isn't he? Belgian,
Yeah,
I think.
Belgium is divided in two parts.
Yeah.
We got to be careful. If you go to the north and Flemish side and you speak French,
Yeah. Oh,
they
okay.
understand it. Most of them, and Menno will tell me if I'm wrong, will refuse to speak French because it's a kind of enemy. While if you go to the south in the French-speaking side, they will be happy to speak to you in French. So sometimes I speak with Belgian people who understand French, but they don't want to answer to me in French. So
okay.
it's sensitive.
Yeah, I can see Memo here is talking about porno, French and Swedish porn English. Yeah. Swedish. Yeah, no, we're not gonna go in there. That's not the thing we. YouTube is not gonna like that. So, yeah.
Oh my God!
I can just say there's always been some very interesting. It's when it comes to words, like there is one word in English that has a different meaning in Swedish. It's like kiss. When you say "I will kiss you," I would like to kiss your whole body. Kiss in Swedish is actually pee.
Oh my God!
Your pee. Yeah. So if you say you would say to someone and they didn't know that, they would say, "What are you talking about?" For example, the same thing. I think it's Somalian language, Somali in Africa. They have we have something called sill in Sweden. Sill or strömming is a fish, herring basically. But if you use that word in their country, as I understand, it means female genitalia. I heard, a very funny accident that happened over a dinner table with someone from Somalia and someone from Sweden when they were trying to explain what they were serving to that person. And they said, "Yeah, I'm serving this sill," and they were like, "What did you say you were serving me?" So yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah, that can happen.
But there's a lot of different Scottish accents.
Prime Whiskey is here as well. So we got another Swedish YouTuber here.
Oh,
nice. Yeah,
cool.
Rickard.
Well, when I went to different festivals, we meet a lot of different people from Scotland, and the variety of accents are mind-blowing.
Yeah.
There's some that are very close to some Cockney English style, while there are others that are really very guttural, and that I met some once. What was it doing in Balvenie? They were doing a demonstration in a show, and there was a malt man who turns the malt in Balvenie. Believe me or not, okay, it was in my early days of whiskey, let's say 2005, but the guy explained to some people there in the show, in some close part of the show, how he works the shot wall and all the, the returning the malt. Honestly, I didn't understand almost 30 or 40% of what he said. It was so much hard accent, Scottish accent, probably from the Highlands and maybe another place. I don't know exactly where, but it was very hard to understand, honestly.
It must have been from the Highlands, because you got the Chuktas, which are from the Highlands, and they have a really strong accent. And I can understand it, but if you don't speak, or if you're not familiar with Scottish terms and that, you would really kind of struggle a bit, because you'd pick maybe, as you say, like, I don't know, maybe like 50% of it up, I would, and then you'd struggle sometimes, depending on the person, because the more north you get, the stronger it gets, especially towards kind of,
Technical vocabulary. Also.
yeah, kind of the north.
Oh, you mean the areas
Highlands.
inside the highlands as well? Okay. So would
Yeah,
you say even inside the highlands is big? Because you have Speyside,
it's huge.
Eastern Highlands, Northern, the islands as well. You mean every part has its own accent, or?
Because in the northwest of Scotland they speak Gaelic.
Oh
is
yeah,
the first language. But
there's also this.
Yeah.
It kind of, that's why it makes it a little bit harder for people to understand them, because it's like Kimri Nari Au. It's like a different language altogether.
Sounds like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
What was that?
Sounds like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Get down, get in the shopper.
Well, there's a good example of that in the movie Angel Share from
I haven't
Ken
seen
Loach,
it.
where you see 3 or 4 different accents. Maybe it's a bit caricatural. You can tell us, maybe, Dominique, if it's caricatural or not. From those guys from the suburbs, poor guys in there, looking for success with whiskey, and there's some very strong accent in there, almost ununderstandable without the subtitles. Did you see the movie?
Yeah, I think I have, but it was quite a few years ago, and I cannot remember exactly how it goes.
I know
that I've heard the movie, but it's not often I hear, or often enough I hear a Gaelic accent, because this is the thing that really gets me annoying, is people get Gaelic, which is Irish, the E, mixed up with Gaelic, which is Scottish. So when you're pronouncing Gaelic, that's Scottish, and Gaelic is Irish. So, but I think there's a bit of differences in Scottish Gaelic and how deep they are. I think quite a lot of people that learn it tend to come from Glasgow area now, so it's a lot softer than where it comes from in the Highlands.
Okay.
But I don't hear enough people speaking it, because it's kind of a dead language near enough. But I'm trying to learn it, so it's not an easy language to learn, because the way it's pronounced and the way you see it are two different things. But
yeah, like the distillery's name, you mean? The distillery's name. Yeah, that's also the problem to spell them correctly, which is sometimes very difficult.
Oh, yeah, the pronunciations with some that makes no sense. That makes no. Sometimes it doesn't make sense, because when you look at I think it's like Anok. I think is one of those.
There's no such thing, honestly, when you hear the people from the area of the distillery spell the name of the distillery themselves, which sometimes completely different. I remember Lynn McEwen, how he pronounced Kulila. Like we said, Kalila, and said Kulila. It was so charming. Like Kulila, something like that. Which is...
Yeah, I think even people in Scotland don't know how to pronounce the names, but I think because people get even Isla mixed up, and they say something else. I can't remember this. It's like, I don't know how they pronounce it differently, and it's not that it's Isla, but I think it's because I know Scotch so well, or Scottish whiskey so well, that I know the names fairly easily. But I think if you didn't know, you'd have a real struggle. Like even like Glenmorangie. People say Glenmorangie, but it's Glenmorangie. So that just gives you an example.
And when you hear Sir Bill Lumsden, it's Glenmorangie.
I know. It can be quite difficult if you don't know it. It's like you could take a simple word like Clenleash and someone could say something like Klein Leash or something like that. It's, as long as it's not too far off. But it's kind of amazing when you're so used to knowing how the names are pronounced, and you hear someone who doesn't know it, they say it completely differently. It's quite interesting, though.
And the French give their own spin on it. So as they CH, they will say sh. So Bruichladish. Someone who doesn't speak English, he will say Bruichladish instead of Brooklady.
There we go.
Or Glenfiddich. And that's even worse. But
yeah, I mean, I think like Jim said here, Whiskey Novice, and it's easier if they would just be called John, Stephen or John or something like that. But I understand there's a lot of history with the distilleries and the areas they are in and all that.
Altavenia is a bit difficult as well.
Which one?
Altavenia, which is spelled Alt-Aben, it's spelled something like Altavenia, if I'm not wrong. Dominic will correct me.
That's correct. Yeah, that's how I pronounce it. It's like someone was it Tobamori or something like that, and it was someone was spelling it differently, and I was like, I don't know if that's
or the
Lechig.
Yeah. How do you say it? How do you say it? Lechig.
I think that's how I pronounce it anyway.
Okay.
Lechig.
And for the pitted version of Bunnahabhain, the first one of the core range, there's a guy from the distillery that told me you have to think of torture. So it's torture for the one called it's torture. So I said, okay, I will think of torture now. Torture. It's very hard. It's like the name on purpose. Nicknames that are almost impossible to spell for us non-Scottish people, right? To make it more local. But
I don't actually know. Is the Bunnahabhain, is that the one with the green label on it or something like that?
That's the one with the sailor. The sailor.
No, I'm speaking the heavily pitted version.
Okay.
Which is the white label. Let me write it in the comments. Maybe I don't know if I can write in the comments. No. I don't have access to the comments.
Oh, you don't? Oh.
No, I will write it on the private.
Okay.
And then Dominic will tell us if it's okay like that. So this is the one I'm talking about.
Okay, Toishik.
But it's crazy. There's even 3-4 parts names. Lechig, fantastic menu. Lechig, Sechik, but it's almost French bilingual joke. I like bilingual jokes, by the way.
I'm not even going to pronounce it, but I know that I think you Tochik. I know the E you do not pronounce that, so that's silent.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's always very interesting. Some vocabularies or some are not even pronounced for some reason, but they're still there, to give the whole word a meaning still. So it's not just very interesting. Because it sounds like it sounds like Russian or something like that.
No, Frederick, let me tell you, Tocha sounds like Klingon language.
Oh, okay, Star Trek.
You try Tocha. It's like
okay.
From Star Trek Klingon.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, but
yeah. Right.
Well, we must have fun with this. If we get too serious with these names, and it's we're finished.
No. They have actually, I think, there's a movie now coming out. I think there's a new Marvel. I know I'm changing subject, but there's a new Marvel movie coming out now. I think the new Venom Part 2. They're writing it, and they have this villain apparently that's gonna be in there. His name is sorry for the Swedish people here pronouncing it. Knull, I think it's called Knull. But in Sweden, that means something totally different. That means F-U-C-K, basically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so everyone was making fun of it in the newspapers. Like, Knoll is coming here, which means basically like F-U-C-K is coming here.
Can you highlight, Frederick, please, Jim's comment to see how you pronounce this Bunnahabhain?
Oh,
Dominic, can you tell us?
yeah.
'Cause I
Oh
don't
my
know.
god.
Come on, Dominic.
Oh,
You're the man. It's not me.
Yes.
It's not Frederick. It's you.
I'm gonna mess this up big time. This is when I'm dyslexic as well, so this is like worse for me.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, Dominic. I forgot about that.
Sorry, you're not obliged.
Dude, no, I'm not going to pronounce that. I'll mess it up big time. That's
It sounds like strudel.
Apfel
Like
strudel.
strudel. Yeah.
We need Luna in the chat to help us with some German.
It's a tongue twist. That's a tongue twister.
Well,
I'm not going to pronounce that because I'll mess it
Did you
up.
do it on
It's
purpose
okay.
or what? Because
I
most
think
of
Multimission wrote something there. Let's see. So a bit like le shike.
let's check. No, I
It sounds
don't
like
know.
le shite. sorry. Le shite.
Dominic, do you think they target customers speaking Scottish, or do they just want to impress foreign people with some unpronounceable names? I mean, marketing.
No.
What's the name? What's the idea behind dropping such difficult names to pronounce? In your
I
opinion,
think it's a really good question, and a lot of people think it's a marketing gimmick. But I think when you look at where the distilleries are, and when they pronounce, they give the names in Gaelic, they do it because it's to do with the location. They usually speak historically there Gaelic, so they're trying to get some of the local culture into these kind of brand. People think it is a marketing thing, but I think it's just trying to incorporate the local history. I don't see it as a marketing gimmick as such, but other people.
It was not a statement, but a question. Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah. I think Jim here wrote something like that. I think it's something like Storedor. Yeah. I have no idea how you pronounce it.
Yeah, Roy did an episode about that, but he should do another one only with Bunnahabhain names because.
Yeah.
I remember watching a video. It was a whiskey YouTuber, and he was testing his girlfriend on Gaelic names.
Whiskey Geek.
And yeah, I think she did quite well considering, she didn't know it. I think it's quite hard for anyone who doesn't know it to pronounce them.
It was hard.
Even if you're from Scotland. Because a lot of people don't know how to speak Gaelic, so yeah.
And even sometimes there's a video, someone did a video and looks like a professional, and he mistake for half of them. Yeah. Yeah, he did that. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Alan.
Well,
but
funny enough, I think it was it the distillery manager from Aberlour, which is one of my. I used to love Aberlour Distillery because their bottlings were really good.
And Alan Winchester, maybe. Alan Winchester, maybe.
I'm terrible with names. I really am. I can never remember anyone's names. But he was. He couldn't even pronounce Gaelic right. He said Gaelic. And I was really quite shocked that, considering where he's located, that he didn't know the difference. And I think it's in general, a lot of Scottish people don't care about the actual heritage of the country. They think it's just a bit of a
folklore. Yeah,
not important, which is kind of a shame. But I think that's the same with every country. We don't really like a local.
Yeah, we had the Vikings.
Oh God.
Yeah, we had the Vikings here in Sweden or in Scandinavia. How they were important.
Yeah.
So
Highland Park.
Yeah, I know. It's very interesting. Highland Park.
When you take Highland Park in Google, when you're not familiar, you don't add distillery to it. You're going straight into the United States Highland Park. It's some kind of a
Oh, okay.
If you
Yeah,
don't
there's-
add distillery, it sounds more American than Scottish.
Yeah, Highland Park is very interesting with all their what's called
Viking
Viking
background.
mythology and all that, Because then at the same time they do like the fold volume or the twisted tattoo. It has nothing to do with Vikings.
Yeah.
I think it's very interesting, but
Well, they
it's
did
up
a
to
lot count on this, but it's only since 2007 and the rebranding, they pulling off these names. Before, I have some whiskeys from pre 2007. There's almost no illusion about this, except the sharing of the origins. But there's only the standing stones and the sunset. I can show you maybe.
Yeah.
So there's nothing to do with the.
Okay. I only have one Highland Park, and that's one of the few bottles I regret buying, actually.
Which one?
Highland Park Fire Edition.
Oh, well, I tasted it, honestly. I tasted the fire and the ice, and honestly, they're nice. But for the price they add, no.
Yeah, and it's only limited to like
2 times the price I will pay for that, minimum.
Yeah. And they're limited.
The most interesting value of those 3 recent ones.
Okay.
Despite its Rioja Spanish wine cask finish, I think it's interesting.
Okay. Yeah, Highland Park has not really been my favorite one so far. I mean, I have not really connected with them yet. I had so far like 4 whiskeys from Highland Park, but it has not been the core range so far. It's only been the Ice and Fire, the Light, and single cask edition. I tried a sample of. Yeah.
Did you have the full volume? I think it's an.
No, I haven't tried that one. Because here in Sweden, I have to buy a whole bottle if I want to taste it. If I can't find a pub that has it.
One. It's not open, but I promise you, when I will open it, I send you one.
Okay, that's nice.
Sample, and have the Valkyrie opened.
Okay.
And then I have 10 others, 12. I have the Thor opened as well. It was the first of the Valhalla collection. It's the only one I have.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting with the whole Viking theme they have, because Viking has become like a pop culture thing with Thor from Marvel, and then you have Vikings from what's called History Channel as well.
Yeah,
and it's Vikings do some credit to them, but still, it's like they were this great warrior people, whatever. They were mostly farmers. They were just farmers. Mostly. They were just mostly farmers, and then of course they went on their boat trips and did really horrible things, that you shouldn't glorify in any way, like a great thing, because there was just massacres and all that things they did.
It's
basically
kind of romanticized, right? In the Viking
it is
metal.
I mean, they did a lot of things.
Fighting, but they don't show they rape women, etc. and stuff.
No,
they
had slavery. They had basically slavery before even there was, I guess, slavery in the well-known slaveries. Brought back slaves, to have, and all that. It's really horrible what they did. So it's very interesting how they come, romanticize, how they culture. But still,
I think Vikings, a TV series, can be called realistic, or
to some degree, but it depends also where they are taking place. Because if I would say this, where they're taking place in Vikings, it's not Sweden, at least not where I live, with all the high mountains and all that. That would be really up north in Sweden, if that would be the case. So it's more like Norway, I would say. I think it is taking place in Norway. But still, it's very interesting how they are romanticizing it. But still, they were, if you see seafaring, what they did, that was quite spectacular, that they could basically just sit on a ship, just watch the stars and say like, oh, we're going to go that direction. So that in itself was quite a daring thing to do. But I still think, when people hear, oh, you're from Scandinavia, oh, Vikings, cool, right? I'm like, we're not going to start this, are we? With Odin and Thor, it's very interesting. They're like, oh, they were cool gods, but no one believes in them. It's a dead religion, or multi-religion, what I call it. Of course, we still learn about them. Our weekdays are named after most of them. Some of the gods. and we have some stuff that we do, but it's not like, you're burning people alive, go to Britain, to an island, a monastery, say hi to the monks, and then take some with you to make wine,
About the movie, guys, there was something I found, one of the worst movie ever about historical realism, which was Robin Hood with Kevin Costner. It was a shocking
Prince
movie.
of Thieves. Prince of Thieves.
Maybe it was the name.
Yeah.
About Robin Hood. Yeah, Prince of Thieves, exactly.
Yeah.
There's so many mistakes historically there.
Okay.
I don't want to start an argue with black people because there's a black Muslim in there which shouldn't have been historical there. It's completely unrealistic.
Okay.
Despite we love Morgan Freeman, is a great character in the movie.
He's a wonderful actor.
But it's absolutely wrong historically. Plus, there's another thing that's very shocking, and maybe Dominic will agree. It's when the sheriff of what was the name of the place? Nottingham decides to destroy the thieves, and his soldiers do not want to enter the forests because they think it's something not only dangerous but sacred. So they call for the help of the Celts.
Okay.
And what are the Celts looking like and behaving like? They're people with crowns, animal crowns on their heads, with furs. Okay. They're barbarian, basically. And it's completely nonsense of what I know. They're shown as barbarian who eat people.
Yeah.
It's completely stupid and racist, and it's wrong as far as I'm concerned. When you see all the Celtic culture, the jewelry, the sophistication of the artwork, artisanry, and also the poets, the Book of Kells and all that, how can you say the Celts are just savage barbarians like that? They were maybe during all the fights and stuff with their enemies, but to call them like, they're shown in this movie like from the age of the caverns, I don't know.
I mean, it's always going to be that on movies anyway. There's going to be some romanticization and some other influences. It always happens. Even today, everyone gets upset when they change something in a history, book, or not a book, but in a movie, from literature to a movie. People get upset.
Try to make things more spectacular than probably they were. And you see the different versions of Robin Hood. You see that perfectly. Yeah. The one with what's the name of the actor that came later on was more realistic than the one.
Was it Russell Crowe?
Yeah, exactly. More realistic, I think, than the one with the Costner. Same for the movies about painters, because I'm a painter too. Yeah. I cannot stand 90% of what I see because it's caricature. Okay. So much control that I cannot stand.
I will tell you a story about a TV show that came, I think it was last year. Sandra here knows about it because she knows how pissed off I was. It's a TV show that was based on a trilogy of books, basically, by an author called Justin Cronin, called The Passage. It's a dystopian apocalyptic book series with the vampiric elements to it, but not the vampiric things that we know about. It's a more interesting view on it. And there is a character, especially in the first book. She's a nun, basically. And she's a very interesting character in the book because of her history, what she's gone through with genocide. So she has post-traumatic stress and all that. So she's a character that becomes very important in the book. But in the TV show, they changed it. So she's still a nun, but she's not a survivor of a genocide in Africa. She's instead an ex-SWAT soldier, basically. Yeah. Well, so she's still collared, and she's still a nun, but she's an ex-SWAT. So she's like this badass girl walking around shooting people. But in the books, she basically has, post-traumatic stress, and is really harmed by what she's been going through. And you're like, what are you doing with this character?
Just to answer,
it made her ramble.
It was about I was complaining about movies that completely caricature cultures, such as Robin Hood and the Prince of Thieves, which shows Celts as the most barbarians people on the earth. So I was complaining about that. But if we want to relate to whiskey, it's a bit of the same. Because, for instance, one of the reasons people don't know, which caused the decrease, the shortage of Japanese whiskeys, is also a TV series called Masan, which showed the life of Yamasaki.
Oh, Yamasaki.
Taketsuru, and Jessica Roberta Cowan, nicknamed AK Rita. So she was not a pure blonde woman, and in this TV series, she's a very luxurious blonde woman. He was not a very handsome guy. He was well, let's not describe him, but he's transformed into a beautiful mannequin, a model. So they always, like Menno says, they always change things to make them fancier, and more commercial. So,
but still, it's very interesting. It's the same thing. I think was with Disney, what they're doing with their movies. I think they were going to do like a live action with Ariel, the Little Mermaid. I think there was a lot of people got upset because she was a woman of color. Woman of color, but still, if you would think about it, why would someone be colorful in the ocean where there is no color, basically? Not saying that people of color are uncolorful, but it would be quite dark or really pale, I would say, if there was evolution.
Frederick, because when you talk about James Bond, for instance, it's related to a book, a series of books, and the problem we have today, it's going to be political for a second, but I don't want to go into this. But
no worries.
Many people have today, especially some crazy people in the US, that tries to bring this into Europe, and I'm not happy with that at all, is to, and I hope I will be faithful to my idea. It's difficult in English for me, but I think people mistake because they want to apply moral logical, let's say, from 2020 to situations in history. There was other values, other kinds of things. And when it's about historical people in the novels or movies, or you cannot just say, oh no, it's wrong to behave like that. We have to change everything. You cannot. It's like you want to do Robin Hood, and I'm gonna sum up this very quickly. It's just you're gonna recreate a Robin Hood and the Prince of Thieves new version, and you give and the first the best friend from Robin Hood will be specialized in hacking banks with computers. So you cannot do that. So if this was a time of slavery, it was a time of slavery. You cannot do nothing about that. If you're going to start to work on slavery, who stopped the slavery first? It's the French. And who's continuing the slavery in 2020? Which kind of countries and continents continue that? I'm going to stop here, but check it out. You might be in trouble.
So what are everyone drinking?
Yeah.
I understand you, but is there anyone drinking anything special? I know Sandra was drinking the Hibiki 12, and she has a bottle still left in her cabinet.
Just to be
stop doing that, please.
With my friend Frederick, 17-year-old Sherry Woods Bank.
It is wonderful. I really like that one. That was the one.
Yeah. Distilled.
I've got that one.
Sorry?
I've still got a bottle of that unopened. That was really good value for money as well. It was like I think it was like £70 on that when it came out originally.
That was really good.
And it was really good whiskey. I've still got a bottle unopened, but it's kind of a shame that how it's really hard to get hold of Springbank now because the prices have just any limited edition. It's like sells out, especially in the UK.
Yeah.
Like not even 30 minutes. It just goes super fast.
Oh.
But I think it's a good time to like, especially me. I've changed what I'm drinking now, and I'm looking for things that maybe like 5 years ago I wouldn't have looked at all. Like I've said this one before, and I really like this distillery, and I think they do some really good stuff.
Yeah.
It's the Ardmore. It's a 20-year-old.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that to me. Unfortunately, they sold it out in Sweden, so I couldn't get it.
Yeah.
Looks nice. Which type of cask did they put into this one, Dominic?
Well, this is actually quite interesting because they used ex-Isla casks, which I presume is Lafroig, and they used, I think it was first fill bourbon casks. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, first fill ex-Isla casks. So I'm pretty sure that's Lagavulin.
Nice.
No,
Lots of
Lafroig.
estuary elements. Lots of estuary elements, pineapple, the pear stuff like that. But as it's older, it's very interesting. Yeah, Alve. I don't have the Alve Sassy, but I have the Have, which is unpeated virgin oak and first fill bourbon, very well balanced. I was afraid of it. And I have the Timmer, which is peated and very beautiful, nice one. Guess some kind of successor to Dalve, maybe, Frederick. I don't know.
Dalve, Elve Hav, they did a series there. I think it was what was it? Hav, Elv, Berg, and I think Sandra knows the last one. I think she knows that because she has all 4 of them.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, I think
she likes High Coast.
The Origin series. It's the Origin series, but I don't know. But I like the fact it's non-chill filtered, non-colored, 48%, and there's no weird wine finish or stuff. And the virgin oak is very well balanced with the first fill bourbon.
Like Sandra says, the Berg is really nice.
What kind of?
It is sherry influenced. Really, nice. It's really nice, really nice. Actually, it's like 50% ABV. So it's quite higher than the other ones. And it was the last one in that series.
I liked a lot was the American oak. It's called Bucks.
Oh, okay.
Have a sample of it, but it's all 100 euros or more here in France, and it's sold out.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. A lot of them. I think shares. I'm drinking right now. This one.
Oh, I don't know this one. 14.
This is a Deanston. It's a distillery exclusive Spanish oak batch 2.
You went there. You went there. I know.
Yeah, I've been there. It's the only distillery I've been to. I've been 2 times to Deanston, but I have been at Glengoyne 3 times actually. So, yeah, that's the one I've been the most visited.
None.
No.
Not yet.
You can do a tour from Edinburgh. Basically, it takes you to Deanston and Glengoyne. I think you pay like £45 or something, and a whole day trip. It's really nice.
Yeah, I've been to Deanston. I think the cafe is really good. You should get like a club sandwich from there. It's really good.
Which one?
But I think Deanston.
Okay, yeah. What did you get there?
Sorry?
What did you get at Deanston, Dominic?
I think it was. I've been a few times to Deanston, but I bought. It was the last one I bought that was quite good. Was the I think it was a 20-year-old port pipe.
Yeah,
and it was really nice.
Nice.
Yeah. You have a question from Emil W.
Yeah. So this is Sanna just says is Elv, Hav, Timmer, and Berg. So yeah, those are the 4 expressions High Coast did recently.
Okay.
So yeah.
Well, we don't have much in France of them, but
no. And Emil here, he really likes the Deanston 9-year-old.
So she asks us which one we could. I don't know if she means that compares to this one or That
No,
we
she just said all the 4 expressions in that series.
Oh.
Yeah. So I think they're gonna do more because I think they just did a limited edition on those, and then they're gonna do other ones. Because they're gonna before that they did the Dalve one,
Mhm.
and they did a Dalve sherry influence as well.
Influence.
Yeah,
I like
as
this one.
well.
Very nice.
So see what happens there. High Coast are really
Beautiful distillery.
I mean, it's really far up north, so I would never. Yeah,
Consider
Yeah.
better than McMyra potentially.
Me too. I don't have the greatest relationship with McMyra, but with single casks, McMyra, which they don't sell, unfortunately, private bottlings of.
Nice ones. That's
Those
cool.
are really good. I have one in my cabinet actually.
We're gonna
that I
do
was
a
given.
quick reminder for people, and apologies. I've been to very difficult things these last weeks or so, and it's not finished. So I have to delay Swedish live I wanted to do with Frederick. We were still gonna do it, but probably not in the summer, maybe at the end of summer or so. And we're gonna try some beautiful whiskeys samples from Close Distillery, beautiful distillery that Frederick gently kindly sent me some sample. We're gonna try also some of these, and also 2 beautiful, I guess because I didn't try them, but good reputation Smogan distillery samples sent by Chris from Chris Goodrum show. Very nice YouTuber. Not many people know enough, I think. Should check him out. He was one of the Malt Maniacs, by the way, and is now running a shop in Nottingham. Yeah, we talked about Nottingham. There's also whiskey and wine shops.
Dominic has also tasted the Bergslagen because I gave you some samples when we met in Edinburgh. Yeah, I think you also like them, even though they're still young, but they're quite interesting.
Something Springbanky, right, Dominic? I think.
Yeah. I mean, I was quite surprised by the Swedish whiskey because I wasn't really too sure how it would be, but I was quite surprised that it had it reminds me of kind of like Islay whiskies, where it's got that like peat, but it's got that kind of like sherryness towards it, and it's quite nice. It is a little young, but it's really nice because I've tried some new stuff from other distilleries, and I don't know what age they are. I think I tried something from King's Barn. I can't remember what it was. It's just like a Noni Stephen, and
I love it.
For it wasn't that good. So when you compare it to like to even some Scottish whiskey, it's really good quality considering. The only problem is I've actually tried to look for Swedish whiskey in Scotland and the UK, and it's really hard to get. Which is quite surprising. And there's only like a couple of bottles at the most, and going by reviews, it's not anything that you'd really want to pay because it's not. Well, whiskey in general is not cheap, but like it's expensive for what it is.
Right now in Sweden, 17, I think, Frederick. I heard
distilleries,
whiskey distilleries.
Wow, there is.
It's
I know
crazy.
there's a few ones that are popping up every now and then, but
most of them don't export like the French one.
No, the problem is that they make so little of it.
This
basically.
one is exported, but this one is an exception. It's from Brittany. I never showed it yet because I had it recently. It's a Buckwheat Whiskey. So it's, somebody told me technically it's not even a whiskey because buckwheat it's not a cereal. It's a bit technical. It's over my knowledge, honestly. But it's nice. It has something notes of apples and stuff. It's not no age statement, but they say it's over to 10 years old, which is rare in French.
Okay. When I was going to say about Swedish whiskey that the oldest one here in Sweden is McMyra, still the oldest one. So they're still the one. They had a 10-year-old. Smögen did actually release, I think it was yesterday, like a core range thing they're gonna have in their portfolio. But the problem was that it said like this, and it just went off the rail.
And
Basically,
the-
everyone bought. Basically, it just sold out. So there's very few of them left now,
there's
and they were
another-
just gonna do like a limited number every time.
Yeah, I don't know if you will agree with that, Frederick. There's another problem about Swedish and French, I would say, whiskeys.
Okay.
Of the only distillery, I think there's only 2 that can pretend to have an over 10 years old whiskey on their portfolio, not because they didn't produce for so long, but because they didn't want to produce before a very recent period of time, 10 years old, for consistency reason.
Okay. Yeah, we have Welsh.
Oh, my question was, don't you think McMyra, they have a 10 years old? I tried it, but for me it was too oaky already.
Yeah.
So there's some distilleries in France and elsewhere, which I think the oak is very loud. Maybe it's because of their warehouse policy or small casks put that very much ahead. Not only the 30 liters cask, the 100 and stuff. They makes a profile which is very oaky and which is not necessary for me. Of what I tried over 50. I don't know. I have the number somewhere. Different McMyras. I had the chance to try a lot. I think they tend to be better before 10 years old. So maybe that's why they're not pushing to put an age statement. Just a guess.
Yeah.
Don't know what you think.
I don't know. I mean, most of the thing that McMyra does is basically cask maturation variations and all that.
They rely more on cask.
Yeah, I think that. I mean, you have to give them credit for being very experimental, taking chances.
Yeah, sure.
With the Grön Tea, which was like one of the latest one, with a green tea matured whiskey. I have not tried it. So I have no idea how it is. I mean, Bergslagen, this one. Not this expression because I didn't get a bottle of it. That one, that was a Christmas edition they have for every year. They do a Christmas edition, and that one, especially the second one. Sorry, my throat. Was matured in Swedish Christmas soda, julmust. Yeah, so I have no idea how it tastes, but I heard a lot of people really said it was actually really good. It sold out like that because it's like the only whiskey in the world that's been matured like that.
Strange.
So it was just one off really unique thing they did with their whiskey.
Yeah,
so
because
I have no idea how it tastes.
I forget because I mean, Scottish whiskey is different in the fact that it has to be like American oak casks, but I'm pretty sure for the rest of the world they can use any other type of wood.
Yeah, for
out
other
there. So
yeah, that's true. Not all, but France can use acacia cask, for instance. I have a bottle here. I don't know how you pronounce that in English. But not all type of cask work. They use sometimes chestnut cask, but Ireland uses them more than French distilleries, I have to say. Middleton, for instance. About the questions in the chat from Menno and
I think there was
the
something about
Armoric is from Varangame Distillery, which is going to change the name, which was too confusing, to Armoric Single Malt brand. And they're distributed in the UK by Gordon and MacPhail. So they have some nice stuff and have some rougher stuff. You have to taste a bit. I recommend the Classic, which is one of the best values in terms of French whiskey. And the one I showed is from Distillerie de Menhir. I believe it's the gold. It's the best one. For all the others, there's one called Diamond, which is 250 euros. It's forget it. But yeah, basically Glenarmor, Distillerie de Menhir, and Armoric were the first ones in France to do something serious. But there are now 40 orders. But
yeah, we have one in the core range now, I think. Something with an R. I can't pronounce it because I don't remember the name of it.
Send me the name when you know it.
Yeah, I will take a picture when I am in Systembolaget and I can show you. Because I don't remember the name really. But I know there was one that came out now that you can buy. It's just for the moment.
Warning, Japanese whiskies and French whiskies can disclose foreign whiskey without stating it if they
Okay.
don't belong to particular areas where there's a special regulations.
Okay.
We and Alsace, east of France and Brittany have special regulations, but otherwise you can find foreign whiskey content in it,
Yeah.
and they not necessarily will state it. But
Okay.
they
Yeah.
do that very seriously for decades. It's Michel Couvreur, but he's an indie bottler who is
Okay.
mainly importing Scottish whiskies to put them in further maturation finishes in France. But they work a kind of like the cognac companies. So sometimes it's very good, sometimes it's too much matured, in my
Okay.
opinion. So you have to.
Yeah, I know what's called in Sweden. We have had a whiskey that came out. There's still some you can buy. It's for, I will not say the distillery because there were some heat or some arguments that they released a 5-year-old whiskey, I think it was. But the problem was they haven't been producing whiskey for 5 years. So they had sourced it from somewhere else, and it was
You're
in
like
Sweden.
the Irish. It's very
So
boring.
it was French, I think. So they got some heat. They called it Swedish whiskey, and it shouldn't be called Swedish whiskey because it wasn't made in Sweden. That was a false advertising. So I have no idea how it went there. I have not tried it. I know it was a stout finish or something like that on it. But I think it was from France, the whiskey, actually. But I'm not sure. But one thing I think is very interesting today is that you see more and more rum matured whiskeys or cask finished whiskeys these days popping up more and more. Springbank or Campbellton has done it now. But
Yep.
you can see them more and more popping up.
Yeah, I like rum finishes where are not too much overpowering. Some of the best finishes, I don't know if Jim is still there, but he knows that,
Yeah.
are the Bushmills independent bottlings
Okay.
from Bushmills.
Okay.
They did beautiful rum cask finishes.
Yeah.
I think rum casks can be a mix. I've not really had a rum cask finish that I've actually liked. I've had Springbank and I've had the Glen Scotia. They're nice, but they're not like wow. They're just. I think it's quite hard with cask to get it really right now. I mean, wine casks are hard to get right because it's either it works like Deanston, or it doesn't work like Bowmore. So it's really mixed. And coming on to that second thing, I know that I heard that in Ireland that some of the small distilleries don't have enough whiskey. So what they do, so they actually export it from other distilleries. So they import it from other distilleries and use it, which I thought was quite interesting.
But you might, Dominic, and I think Frederick knows that, you might have tried some rum wood cask without knowing it when you had the 10-year-old Springbank, for instance. Okay. There were decades where there were a lot of rum, white rum cask in it. And it shows when you try them. It shows. In the 10 years old.
Yep.
I don't know if you knew that. Because Cadenhead also has rum casks and releases rum bottlings as well. They have rum, sherry. They have a lot of things, and they liked. I know because I spoke with the master distiller at the time. They like to mix for the core range different kind of cask, and it's most often rum, bourbon, and sherry oloroso. They like to mix these. Sometimes in the 10 years olds, there's no sherry, there's only bourbon and rum, and sometimes there are the three. So it's very interesting. I tried the 10 years old for 20 years almost now, and I'm always amazed how the recipe changes, but it's still interesting. But if you could collect all the 10 years olds from the 20 last years, you will be very amazed how different they can be.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, I tried one from, I think it was the 90s. I compared it to recent bottlings. and it's so different. It's like a different whiskey. I tried the
That's
one from the
good.
90s. Yeah, and on the nose, I thought it was from a Space Side, and then I
Yeah,
tried,
you
and then tried a recent one, and it was like it was much more peaty, and it was only
Yeah.
on in the 90s bottling. It was only because of the taste that I realised I thought it was actually a Glenfiddich, and then I thought, no, it can't be because it doesn't have any P in it.
So you don't get the famous funk, the Springbank funk. You don't have it in 10 years old from late 90s to early 20, let's say 2007, 8. I still have one within this era. I'm not sure you will recognize it even as a Springbank. Let me tell you, because you got no peat and you got no funk. So
yeah, I actually found in Copenhagen a little miniature bottling of 5 centiliter. It was a chieftain, an independent bottler, I think it is.
they
Chieftain.
did a lot of
They had a
Springbank.
they had a 37-year-old Springbank there.
Oh yeah, I know
And
that.
I think it cost like could have been in Swedish, so around 100 euros for that little bottle.
Not surprised.
I was really tempted to buy it just to try it.
I understand. And
Then I
agree.
realized, I paid that much for this little bottle, so much for a little bottle. But still, yeah, it would be cool to try it really old.
I was lucky enough to be offered for my birthday. It was 40 euros and was, I think, even not the price you will pay today in a bar. Springbank local barley 1966. Because many people think the local barleys are just recent series.
No, they're older expressions.
They were from the 60s. And honestly, it was amazing. And it's not the same profile as now. There's maybe 20-30% in common. The green elements, some elegant smoke.
Yeah.
But the others are coming from old bourbon and old sherry casks. So a lot of green elements, mushrooms, tea, black tea, stuff like you don't find now in but also because it's 28, it was a 28 years old. Well, I have a lot of things to say about Springbank.
Yeah,
they're expensive bottlings.
Yeah, they are.
But
I tried some beautiful.
Yeah, I'm surprised when they did the new bottlings of the local barley series, they didn't change the ages as much as they could have done because they were fairly young. I mean, you let me try them. I've got to try the 16 because I've put in a box and I can't find because I've got all these boxes.
Yeah, okay.
And they're very similar to each other.
It's the only one I have, the 16.
Expensive, but
now,
they're nice.
Yes.
But I think they could have changed it around. I think Frederick, you were saying that as well. Could have changed like some of the. I know they used for some expressions different casks, but I think they could have given them more age and different casks as well because they're very similar to each other.
Yeah,
but the price is going to jump.
And
they do.
The 11-year-old is the only one that's like fully matured in one type of cask. That is the bourbon, and that's the only one I do like often.
Okay.
I'm not really a big fan of the local barley series. If I should
You don't
be
like
honest.
the 16?
No, I don't. The thing is
I
that
remember you was not when I saw your rundown. I think it was not your favorite, right?
no, the 11-year-old was the one I liked, and then there's the 9-year-old. I would say.
Yeah, the
That's my
11-year-old.
I tried them, but they're good. But for me,
There are better. I
the
mean,
16
it's also
compared to the old ones, forget it.
Yeah. But it's going to be really hard to source anything, you get your hands. But I just think that for the pricing they took, for like a 9-year-old bottling, like I don't know, maybe 110 euros or something like that. That's just crazy. It's just crazy. But still, I mean, I know.
Frederick, I wonder. I have tried some. I still have a sample to try.
Okay.
I wonder if the good thing to do for Springbank fans now isn't maybe, especially if you're in UK, it's easier to be a member of this society. I don't know if you are. I am lucky you. I am not. Shame on me, but
I'm not.
But I always forget to get a bottle, when they're releasing.
If you see Whiskey Mystery Channel, Phil and Deepa, very nice guys from the US.
Yeah.
They did beautiful reports about Campbelltown and Springbank, and they spent quite some time trying the special editions in their videos. And it seems they have beautiful stuff in there. Not always, but the problem is you got to be quick for these bottles, and sometimes they're expensive, and they're all young, right?
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, but still, I think the last year's Malt Festival edition, the 8-year-old Springbank did, is really good, in my opinion. I know Ralphie had some opinions about it still being too young. That's why he wouldn't be reviewing it. But I really like it. I
don't agree with him with the no age statement. He refuses to.
Yeah, no, that's his thing. I mean, I respect what people are doing.
Oh, yeah, me too.
So, but that 8-year-old, for being 8 years old, it's really good. And I missed out on this year's Kilkerran, or was it last year, the 8-year-old sherry cask.
Me too. I don't have it either.
Due to the whole COVID, the whole COVID thing, Systembolaget, the government we had, did some new things, so they didn't have to, if there are people that work there would get sick by the COVID. So you weren't able to get it, unfortunately, because they would only send out to certain shops around Sweden. So it would have been, regulation problem if I would have done it. So if I would have gotten a bottle, because I had to drive a certain mile, and I wouldn't do that, for a bottle during a pandemic. Personally, I think that would be, in my opinion, not good to do. But still, it's up to everyone what they want to do.
Yeah, so, I noticed that Springbank, it might just be me, but if you go back to like 2014, in their releases, especially like the 18-year-old, they were using more sherry proportion in the casks, and now it's becoming a lot less, and they're using a lot more different casks, and they're not as, apart from the 12-year-old, even the 12-year-old, they're using less casks in general. There's still some that have sherry in them, but it's not as much as it used to be. And I think, especially with the 18-year-old, that really affects it, because the ones that are bottled in sherry, matured more in sherry casks, tend to be better than the bourbon cask mix.
I don't necessarily agree. I tried last year one, which was not much marked by the sherry, which is, for me, I believe, it's a generality, so it's not always true, but often refill sherry casks serve better great distillery characters. Kleinlich, for instance, a great example of that. Springbank as well, except the legendary, of course, first fill sherry from the late 90s. I tried, and I placed them very high. But I tried Longrow 18 and Springbank 18 last year, and I found it more interesting than a few years ago.
Yeah.
It's personal taste, Dominic. Of course,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm right and you're wrong, and the contrary.
Yeah.
But
I just want to say bye to Multimission. Bye. See you next time. Thank you.
Oh yeah, cheers, buddy.
Yeah.
Lots
So, Welsh Tour actually wrote something very interesting here.
I agree.
Be afraid to Springbank.
There was a great debate about bias, and I agree we can be biased because we love Springbank, but we have to criticize Springbank as well, for sure.
Yeah. I had a 13-year-old single cask. I found, I think it was last year. Yeah, it was last year, I think. Or was it the year before? No, the year before. I think I found it in Edinburgh at a shop. They had like 6 bottles of a single cask 13-year-old for the UK market. Yeah. I don't think that one was the greatest Springbank I have tried. I have let it now open up quite a long time, so I'm going to try it again, see how it is. But I was I would say disappointed when I tried it, actually, if I should be honest. I was a little bit disappointed at it because I had so high expectations. I finally got a single cask Springbank and a fresh sherry cask, or it was. I was like, yes. And then when I tried it, it was like, yeah, I should have said maybe just bought 2 bottles instead of 4. But that's how life is. Because I really thought I was going to hit
sherry from now and sherry from
flavors.
Before. Yeah. It's not the same always.
No, it wasn't, and it wasn't. No, I didn't like it. But still, I have tried it, and I now have some balls because of it.
Are you a fan of Glenfarclas, Frederick? Maybe Dominic?
I have only tried a few of them. I know they have some kind of inconsistency with their
Orange.
with the corners. They can sometimes get good, sometimes get lesser because of how they're making.
Well,
I think
if you like sherry, you need to try the family cask range because
but they're so
some
expensive.
phenomenal
They're
stuff in
so
there.
expensive.
But
They're so expensive, unfortunately. They have in my hometown. My hometown actually have, I think, one of the biggest. Let's see, one of the biggest. What's called collection you can actually find in like family cask releases on a bar, actually, apparently, in one of the hotels. So I'm looking if it's able to actually go there and try, but I'm already guessing it's going to be expensive.
And you can buy on Amazon the. It was one curiosity of this Christmas, the family trunk, they call it, which is basically all the vintages from what was it, 95 or so, 46 to now, but in 20 cl and within a big kind of wooden library, but five mid
10.
five numbers price.
Yeah,
I've seen that one. It's like, I think it's over £10,000. I might be wrong. It looks lovely, but it's really expensive.
£10,000 for what? Yeah,
Probably,
yeah. I mean, if you have the money, you can buy that. Go for it.
I think there were 50 bottles in there of 20 cl only, which is not.
Oh yeah, the suitcase one. Yeah, I saw.
Suitcase. Like you say, the most expensive suitcase I ever seen.
Yeah, but I mean, if you have the money, I can guess that you can get a really cool experience with all of them. I guess is one in a lifetime. But wow, it's a lot of money. Still, it's a lot of money. Because I know in Sweden they did a tasting. In Sweden they did a tasting. I think it was last year. If it was off, I'm not sure if it was if they did it or not. Because they had like the whole Ichiru or what's called Shiro Halt Malt, the Shiro card series.
Oh, the card series,
Japanese card series, all the 53 or 54 with the yokers and all that. Here in Sweden, I think it was going to cost like £10,000 as well to be a part of that tasting. But you would get like a little pin or something that would acknowledge you as one of very few people who actually tried it. If you have the money for it, I mean, happy. It's a lifetime experience.
Well, Storo, I agree with you. For us mortals, you can try beautiful sherried and peated whiskeys at Ben Romach. I love the 2009. For instance.
Yeah, you mean, let's see here. I think I put one here. Did I? Yeah, I have Ben Romach here, the 2009 or 2010, 2010, the peat smoke sherry cask.
No, I have it somewhere, but it's a bit remote. No, was the batch one at 57.9, something like that?
Oh, is that the one that really they did to take away when they discontinued Imperial's proof?
Yes, I think.
Yeah.
And it's better than the 10 Imperial proof.
Okay, yeah, because I don't. Oh, what happened to Dominic?
Oh, we lost Dominic.
Oh, I hope he's come back. Oh,
yeah, Ben Romach is a very beautiful. Honestly, I tried a 50 years old in Whiskey Life Paris, just because how to say that? People are gonna say I was biased or pretentious or whatever. Forget it. I tried it. They poured it to me, maybe because I was a blogger, etc. And I know the guys from there before, etc. But they poured me the 50. I was surprised how not overpowered by oak it was. It was very fresh. If I had tasted this blind, I will never say it's a 50 years old.
Okay.
It tasted like a 20 years old. Very complex, very deep, beautiful, very yellow fruits. Absolutely. But 5,000 euros in a fancy wooden box. So is he coming back?
I have no idea.
I will see. Maybe it's connection-wise.
Yeah.
How many people?
it could be. It's okay. It's okay. I mean, I will get in touch with him later.
Can
it
you
was
see
great having Dominic. It was great having Dominic here. Actually, I'm really happy to see him here. He's been following me for nearly from the beginning when I started my Instagram journey before I started YouTube. And he's the only one I ever met in person. We met in Edinburgh last year. It was really fun. Hang out, had a beer, ate some burgers, talking whiskey and all that. It was really nice. So I'm very thankful for him joining. So now I think we're gonna do another 10 minutes, I think, and then we're gonna call it. So yeah, I see Welsh Tourist said something here about peat
I
smoke.
agree.
Yeah, it's the peat smoke sherry is really good.
And even the whites, I think I always criticize red wine matured or finished whiskies. I think they do a great job in Ben Romach with the Sassicaia and with the
Here it is. Yeah.
Oh, back again. Good.
Hello.
Welcome back.
It went, so
apologies. No worries. That's how it is sometimes.
We're speaking about Ben Romach, Dominic, and good value. I don't know if you agree. How good value there often are. What they, I don't know your experience of Ben Romach.
Yeah. Well, actually, I think it's good value for money. I think the only one that I've not been impressed by was it was an older version of the 10-year-old, and it was just a bit off. But I think I tried a 5-year-old version, which it was quite subtle, but it was nice. And the 10-year-old in general is good. The 15's really good, and they're good. They're good value for money because they had the 40-year-old recently at 43%, but for like £520, which is good value for money.
Yeah,
that's hard to get these days.
Yeah, the 10-year-old is a great value whiskey, like Welsh Tourist says here. He says that I really like the 10-year-old. I haven't bought a bottle, but they're gonna change their design, aren't they? No, the label.
But you know what?
It doesn't look very appealing.
To the old ones back to around 20 years ago. So I was shocked first time I saw it, and then I get back to my old catalogs. I say, oh, okay, I see. They want to do some comeback of the old labels, but it's a bit too reddish for me. It's a bit too
white,
monotone, only one dominant color.
Yeah.
But as long as it's not gray, as the old Pulteney range and Balblair, which I complain a lot about the result. And you see how beautiful were the Balblair boxes.
What do you think of the? What do you think of the new Arran bottlings? Do you like them or?
They look really good. They look really good.
I agree. I think they're great, looking great. I didn't have tried the new 18. Luna Arran says it's better than the old one. So I haven't tried the new 18 and the 21. But I have the sherry cask home, which is a bit young and a bit sourish, but still nice. I have the previous Madeira finish, which I like a lot, but alas, they won't continue with that. I have the Sauterne, which is nice as well. I'm not so fan of the Amarone. Haven't tried a Marsala cask yet, I think. But it's discontinued. One of the best thing for those who have 150 to 200 euros to spend on the bottle, I can advise the club, the Arran Club one, which is called White Stag Release.
I've seen the pictures.
I tried the first one, which was absolutely stunning, probably the best Arran I ever had. But you have to pay the price, and it's in opaque bottles, which I'm not very fond of. And you have to be a member. You have to subscribe to the newsletter. You don't have to pay. You just have to subscribe.
Same. I think.
Then you buy them online, and it's very expensive for French people. With I did this once for Port Charlotte, and now I will never do that again.
We have what's called. I have a distiller exclusive Arran here in my cabinet. It does what's called a Fina Sherry. Fina Sherry small batch, the
Oh.
second small batch they did. That is a whiskey that's really good, really nice. It's a lot of sulfur. I really like sulfur whiskey.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
You
Yeah, I
don't know.
really love sulfur, and it's really sulfur. I gave it
One
to.
of the few then, because
I know a lot of people doesn't, because I
No.
remember the first time I tried sulfur whiskey. I did that on my video Unicorn Whiskeys, because that was a Japanese whiskey. The first one I tried with sulfur, and it was just the taste of it. It was just fantastic. Seriously, it was just.
then you
really
have to try
nice.
some Karizawas, but
I have tried only one. They are what they are. It was a really great Japanese whiskey. Have you tried or known of them, Dominic Kurosawa?
I've not tried Japanese whiskey because it's quite expensive, and I just haven't really kind of found that cult following for Japanese whiskey. I like Irish whiskey, but I haven't just tried Japanese whiskey at all, actually.
And you're coming too late to it.
Yeah, the Kurosawa is
That's
it's way out of money. It's
No.
I think some of their bottlings can go over 10,000
You know-
pounds.
But at the time, I can tell you that in around 2010,
Yeah.
there were tons of bottles, even if my luxury supermarket, of Asama Karizawa, which was not the best, by the way. Multi-vintage stuff. Nobody wanted to buy them at 55 euros. And all of a sudden, when the prices jumped, someday they were all gone. And I think somebody bought them all, the 15 or 12 they were, to flip them. I'm sure about that.
I remember when you can go and buy like a Yuichi 10-year-old, Yamazaki 12, and Kushi 12, and Hibiki 12 since I have a government store, you can just go and buy them. It was something special, and you can still find Yamazaki 12 and Kushi 12 and Hibiki 12 sometimes. But the pricing on those, don't do it seriously.
And
don't buy that price.
I guess at some time where I could buy some better stuff, I was a bit naive, thinking they will last forever on the shelves with the same price or so. Because I saw Port Ellen, my favorite distillery, dozens of Port Ellens, 150, 200 euros. It's a lot. It's a lot. I know I should not buy them. But now,
but I mean, same thing, maybe the same thing would happen to these ones, since it is from a close distillery, even though I never reach outside Sweden, because I know very few people have got them. Dominic has got sample. You even got a bottle for me when we met.
I've got.
Yeah, so he has a whole bottle actually, Greg. Yeah, envy there. So that's how it is. But it's a distillery that no many people will know. I am one of the very few who actually try to highlight them. And not many people have catch up on it because that's how it is, because it's such an unknown. It's only sold in Sweden, which I think is a shame, because people really need to try it. They really need to try what the Grythyttan, the real distillery, could do, because it's a shame what happened to them. It's a real shame what happened to them.
Wait for 5 to 7 years to see the new distilleries, around 8 to 10 new distilleries, when they're able to do new Japanese distilleries with the real stuff from them, maybe a change of regulations to oblige them to state if they're sourcing or not. Plus, Yoichi and Miyagikyo and Yamazaki and Hakushu will gonna be back to form, as I heard, to release again a 10 years old, maybe 12 in a couple of years now. But at which price, when you see the knowledge statement from all these 4 distilleries already jumping 70 to 80 euros, and when they do special editions like they did a sherry and a bourbon, and Yoichi was already 300 euros.
Jim Murray did a very dishonest thing to get
with the sherry.
Thanks to the sherry cask.
I still have to thank him for that, because when I was in trouble to pay some bills, I sold their Yamazaki sherry cask 2012, which was not the most famous, 10 times its price.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I know
people.
people.
Because there's another bottle I had under his advice, and it finished in the sink. So he owed me that.
Yeah. But we'll go back to Welsh Torrid actually with the Nika coffee malt. I did a review on both the grain and the coffee malt. It's very interesting because I know a lot of people likes the coffee malt more than the coffee grain.
Yeah.
I was on the other side. I actually like the grain more than the
I
coffee malt.
understand.
But it's just interesting how different we are in our tastes. And I'm actually gonna
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna conclude live now because it's been
Yeah,
10 minutes. So I will want to thank everyone that's been taking part in this live. Thank you, Dominic and Greg as well. You guys can just stay tuned, and I'm just gonna end the broadcast, and we can talk a little bit more. So I would say to everyone, thank you very much for joining, and I will see you next time on the 25th of August, actually. So feel free to join the chat or here on the live, and let's have fun. Hopefully, as we have on now. I'm really thankful. So take care, everyone. Bye.